What is up, fantasy world? Welcome to Week 14 Rock'em Sock'em Power Rankings, brought to you by Sudden Death Fantasy Sports, where champions cheat death one round at a time. I am Sean Trader Clemens, here with my co-host Scott. Run the hurry up, Fitzgerald. Scotty, how was your turkey day?
Family was great. We ended up coming down to Florida for the winter, so we're in the Sunshine State where it's nice and beautiful and away from the snow. Food was great, family was great, but after the first game, I got to look in an Amon-Ra St. Brown 0 for the whole weekend, which cost me dearly.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very, very painful injury for anybody who had him in a starting lineup. It happened right out the gate, first game of the week, and then the rest of the weekend. I mean, there was some fantasy studs, especially early in that Thursday games, that were just like coming out of the woodworks. And we're sitting here looking at this big goose egg on our lineups to start out in a very crucial week in a lot of leagues. So yeah, it was definitely a devastating situation, and we still don't know what's going to happen moving forward with him this week. So hopefully we'll get some good news later in the week, and things will be okay next week. But right now, man, that definitely hurt. So let's get into our power rankings, shall you? Because that's why we're here, guys. You guys are here because you want to see what happened with our power rankings. Obviously, things are all over the board after last weekend. Seems like every week we're going through this. It's just musical chairs this season when it comes to power rankings. Teams that we never would have thought are up here, and they're just moving around, like musical chairs, like I just said. So let's see what happens. Let's start by going over last week. We are going to see what happened last week with our rankings. Me and Scott both had the Rams at number 1, of course. I started with the Bears at 10, going up, and the Chiefs at 9, Lions at 8, Niners at 7, Eagles at 6. My top 5 was Broncos at 5, Colts 4, Patriots 3, Seahawks 2, and Rams 1. For Scott, he had the Bills at 10, the Niners at 9, the Packers at 8, Lions at 7, Seahawks at 6, and then same with me for the Broncos at 5. Eagles were down at 4, finally, for Scott. He had the Colts at 3, Patriots at 2, and also the Rams at 1. So one of the few times we actually agreed on our number 1 seed was last week. That's not going to happen this week, guys. So, we don't usually agree in Rock'em Sock'em Power Ranking, especially on the number 1 seed, and I don't think that we'll see this again, maybe until the end of the season. So, look at it now, guys. It's like a new moon. It only comes around once in a while. Here it is right here. It's the last time you're going to see it for a good minute. Starting this week, let's go through our week's 14 power rankings, 1 through 10. I'm going to start out with mine, and I have my Bills right back in the top 10, baby, after that domination over those Steelers. I know Scott's over there laughing right now at me for putting him in. He's wondering why I have him in over a certain team, which we'll talk about here in a second. But yeah, I did it because I'm a homer and I love my Bills. And if they can want to sneak into the top 10 for me, it's going to be real easy for me to do that. So there they are, sitting in my number 10 spot. At number 9, I've got the Packers moving their way back into my top 10. Just above them, I have the Colts dropping all the way down from number 4 down into our number 8 spot. So that to me is definitely a big drop for them. Obviously, now they're not in the lead of their division. Everything's different now. It's moving forward. So we're going to see how that plays out. Number 7, I've got the Niners sitting there right about where they were last week. I don't see much movement necessary for them. They're still kind of a question mark that hangs over them a little bit for me to move them up. At number 6, I've got the Texans breaking into my top 10 all the way up to number 6 with that stellar defense that looks like it could be heading into the playoffs as the number 1 defense in the league. That's my 10 through 6. I'm sure Scott's is different. I'm going to let him break that one down for you. Scotty, why don't you tell them about your 10 through 6?
All right. Well, first, before I break into mine, I love how when a team breaks into your top 10, they immediately skyrocket into the top 5 or 6. It's so amazing how they go from like out of the top 10 to, 1 week, they just like leapfrog like 5 teams. So pretty amazing.
Hey, I mean, when you come in and you dominate in 2 weeks in a row like that, like I'm not gonna lie, they were almost in my top 10 last week. They were close. They didn't quite sneak in there. But after this week's dominant performance once again, back to back like it was, and CJ back in the game, I just feel like I had no choice.
Okay, well, I broke them in very gently and put them at the number 10. They do have the top-ranked defense in my power rankings at 198 points against. They're plus 65 point differential, 6-2 in the conference. They're on a 4-game win streak, and also they are 4-0 against quality teams, which is my metrics, I should say. Number 9 is the Niners. They pretty much just stay right there. Number 8, the Eagles. They're finally dropping, in my opinion. Their defense is horrid. They just don't look the same on offense. They're kind of in shambles. They're not running the ball, so I'm dropping them down to 8. The Packers are at 7. The Packers to me are trending upwards. They're 6-2 and 1 in the conference, 3-game win streak. They beat the Lions on Thanksgiving, which is a hard place to beat a team on Thanksgiving. And then the Bears. The Bears are definitely trending up. They're for real. They took care of the Eagles on the road, which was amazing, in a matinee game where the whole world got to see them. So I got them up there. They're on a 5-game win streak, 6-2 in the conference. I got them at number 6.
I mean, I don't hate your top 10 or your 6 through 10. I'm sorry. The only thing that I'm just not a fan of is the Eagles. I just don't think they deserve to be in the top 10 anymore. Their offense is so putrid right now. And I don't see that team coming together the way that they used to. So to me, this is going to be one of those off years with that team. And I just don't see them ever breaking back into my top 10 anymore. I just don't. So that's my only gripe with it. Otherwise, I don't hate on your top 10, your 6 through 10 that much. 1 through 5, we might have a different story coming though.
Well, we'll see what happens on Monday night, because Monday night, Philly's got to travel to LA and play the Chargers, and that's going to be a pivotal game. If they lose that game, they are going to be for sure out of my top 10.
Yeah, it's going to be, especially if Herbert doesn't play and they lose to a Trey Lance, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's talk about number 5. At number 5, I have the Chicago Bears. Like you just talked about, bringing them all the way up to number 5. I'm telling you though, man. I mean, they're up there at the top of the NFC for a reason right now. Ben Johnson looks like the coach that everybody thought he could be, and I really do think that they're a team on the rise. So I even with Caleb's suspect play, I still think the Bears deserve to be in the top 5.
Yeah, I won't argue with you there.
So, Scotty, your number 5. Talk about it.
I got the Seahawks in the top 5. I mean, they're plus 133 point differential, which is the most in my top 10. They did pound on a terrible sucks at football Minnesota team by shutting them out. So, I mean, I don't take too much credit into that, but they're still a good team. I mean, Sam Darnold didn't really pass for a whole lot. It's been pretty much the defense that's been pulling them through. So I'm still on the fence whether or not they're one of these elite teams, or if they're a team that is going to end up being at the bottom of the top 10 towards the end of the year. The jury's still out on them, but I got them sitting there at number 5. I still think they're a top 5 team because of their defense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm finally glad that you're putting the Seahawks up there where they belong. I know that, I've had them a lot higher than you so far this year. And, like you said, what a difference a QB makes, huh? You put Sam Darnold back in Minnesota, and they'd probably be sitting right there in that number 5 slot for you. So I'm not sure what they're going to do moving forward out there. JJ, jury's still out, but man, did they make a mistake not keeping Darnold in that locker room? So I'm happy with where you got them. I think they should be slightly higher, as you guys will tell here very soon. But I do definitely think the Seahawks belong in the top 5. So yeah, not too much argument on that one. That's not bad. Even though we had different guys, we still didn't really get too much into the weeds over hating on each other. So it's kind of surprising. Let's talk about number 4. That might be different now. Number 4. That's where I got my Seahawks. So, I'd put them down. You guys are probably looking at me going, how do they shut somebody out and then you move them down in your rankings? The reason they moved down in my rankings is because of what Scott just said, that Minnesota just looks so bad right now that a shutout against Minnesota doesn't really move the needle for me all that much. And it wasn't something that they did per se, as something that the other teams above them did to move above them, that I think that I had no choice but to move them down the list. So it's not that I hate on them. It's not that I'm disappointed in anything that they did. They handled business like they should have this weekend, but they just, some of the other teams just did it even better. So that's the only reason they went down. Scotty, you got any qualms with me moving them down like that? I'm sure you're probably okay with it.
No, I'm okay with it. Like I said, the Vikings are basically awful. So
yeah. So you're number 4.
I got the Colts. Colts at number 4. They have 357 points. 4. That's number 1 in my top 10. an amazing plus 108 point differential, and they're 6-3 in the conference. So I still got them there. They're starting to trend to me a little bit downward. They're not. I mean, the schedule's getting a little tougher. They're having a hard time running the ball. Daniel Jones has come back to earth a little bit more. But I still got them there. I want to see what they do the next game. But like I said, they're what's keeping them up there is the success they had earlier in the season. So I'm going to keep them right there.
Well, I knew, us being friends wouldn't last much longer than one number, because here we are, number 4 right after number 5, and we're already going to be button heads because the Colts still in your top 5. Daniel Jones is running around with a busted femur. If you guys haven't read the story or look up the story about Daniel Jones's little kind of protective thing that he's rocking on his leg right now, I guess it's his roommates from college, his business and stuff. It's kind of a cool little story and everything. But regardless of that, the man's still playing on a busted limb. And he's out there not looking like the same guy. I mean, he's looking a little bit more like your Daniel Jones sucks at football, Daniel Jones, than the one we've seen this season so far. Even my dog agrees. So I definitely do feel like Daniel Jones, in the way that he's playing, along with the fact that teams are shutting down Jonathan Taylor now, I'm concerned about them Colts, man. And I don't think they belong in the top 5 anymore, at least until they can prove that they can beat a good team. So we'll see what happens next week as the things move forward. I don't think they're in the top 5 anymore.
Well, next week they got to go to Jacksonville. Jacksonville's got a tough defense. So we'll see. We're going to see who the real fraud team is. Is it the Jacksonville Jaguars that's a fraud, or is it the Indianapolis Colts?
I mean, but if you beat a fraud, does that mean you're not a fraud? I mean, it's kind of, it's apples and oranges, I guess.
Well, battle of the frauds. So I
right.
We'll see what happens. If
the fraudulent game.
The Colts can go down there in the nice warm weather and beat up on the Jaguars, especially that defense, then I guess my number 4 ranking is right where they need to be.
Now you might have to bring those Jaguars up in there instead of the Colts, huh?
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the Jags next week.
That's right. All right, number 3, getting into the nitty-gritty here with our top 3. This is where I have those Broncos. They did move up finally. Scott was been on my case about leaving them down there at 5 for a few weeks in a row, but they finally got up off the 5 snide and moved up to my number 3 ranking. I mean, I can't deny it anymore, man. I mean, they're up there with the double-digit wins, one of the few teams that's in that boat at this point in the season, and they deserve the kudos. As much as I dislike the fact that Sean Payton is successful still, the man still can coach. He's not out of touch with things. He still knows what he's doing. And Bo Nix looks like a better quarterback than I thought he was going to be coming out. So, I mean, they're moving in the right direction at the right time. So it's hard for me not to move them up my board. Scott, do you have any qualms with my Broncos at 3?
No, I don't, because that's where I got them. I got them sitting there at number 3. So they're a 10-win team. So you got double-digit wins. They're 6-2 in the conference, and they've won 9 straight games. So Sean Payton is definitely a quarterback whisperer. They got Patrick Surtain back. I'm a little worried about the running game. RJ Harvey does not look like he can run between the tackles as well as J.K. Dobbins does. So that's a little concerning, especially when you get into the playoffs and you got to be able to run the ball, and if you have to travel somewhere cold. So it's a little concerning there, but you can't deny a 10-win team and a team that's won 9 straight.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with you. We're not going to get into too much on that because we both got them right where they belong, I think, in the top 3. So this is where we're going to have a little bit of back and forth here, because I just refuse to put the Patriots any higher than number 2. And Scott is shaking his head already because he knows that this is literally based on bias more than anything. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and say, yes, it is based on bias more than anything. I cannot, in my heart of hearts, put the Patriots at 1 yet. I just can't do it, man. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. I love what Drake May's doing over there. I think Vrabel and his stash are obviously coaching well. That team is playing great. Drake May does look like he is on his way to stardom, superstardom even. So I can't hate on that part of it. I can't, in my heart of hearts, move him up to number 1 yet. And you know what, guys, talk all the mess you want about it, because I'm just not going to do it yet. I'm sorry, I'm not. Beat my Bills neck after your bye week, And then, I think I'll have no choice. But right now, I'm going to leave you at number 2. And that's where you're going to sit for at least 2 weeks until the bye week is over. And, I'm happy that at least I get one more week before I have to worry about figuring out what to do. Scott, go ahead, man.
I'm not even going to rip into that. I'll wait till I get to New England. But my number 2 is the LA Rams. They dropped down from the 1 to 2 spot, and it's obviously they took a loss to Carolina. Carolina, we're gonna have to watch them. They might break into my top 10 next week. It was a really good game, probably one of the my favorite games. So I didn't get to watch any of the games. I had to listen to them because I was driving. But they had to travel from the West Coast to the East Coast, which is not fun for those West Coast teams. But I still got the Rams. I'm not going to drop them that far. They're plus 124 point differential. They're 7-0 against quality wins against quality teams. So, and I trust Sean McVay. Devontae Adams looks like he turned back the clock like 10 years. So, I mean, he looks great. The one thing that's a little bit concerning, if you're a fantasy manager that owns Kyren Williams, is Blake Corum's getting like every other series, which is a little bit concerning right there. But as far as the offense and the defense, they're still, in my opinion, a top 2 team.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously agree with you because I still have him sitting at number 1. And the reason I left him there, again, beyond just my bias against having to move the Patriots up, is that I still do think that they are overall the better team right now than the Patriots are, even though they took that loss. I think that loss had a little bit more to do with kind of flying high after everything and just, not coming in there 100% like they had to play hard. And the Panthers kind of come up and surprised them a little bit. So I don't really think that should bump them down the list too far. And I still think that overall they're just the better team right now. Offensively, I don't think that the Patriots could keep up with the Rams on their best day. Whereas I do think that, the Rams have a defense that could potentially slow down the Patriots offense enough to keep the Rams ahead. So I'm going to leave them in the number 1 spot over the Patriots. But like I said, a couple weeks when that matchup between the Bills and Patriots happens, if they do beat us, then, obviously my opinion might change. But as of now, I'm leaving the Rams at number 1 and trusting the Super Bowl winning Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay to right the ship after a bad loss.
Okay. Well, I want to apologize to everyone listening out there because Sean just wasted 1 minute of your time. Precious. Because all he had to say was, yeah, he is biased, and that's why he does not have the Patriots up at number 1. So that was all a bunch of BS that Sean laid out to you guys. I'm really sorry that you guys had to deal with that for 1 minute. But the number 1 team in the league is definitely the New England Patriots. They're the only 11-win team, plus 110 point differential, 6-2 in the conference, and they've won 10 straight games. Right now, Drake May is an MVP candidate. And Mike Vrabel, I mean, as much as I can't stand the guy, he's got the team just like they're not. I don't know how you beat this team. I mean, they don't have like star power. You don't look at their team and say, oh my God, they got like the Rams. They got playmakers everywhere. I mean, they got, an old Stephon Diggs. They got a Keyshawn Boutte. They Hunter Henry. You can hang your hat as he's probably one of the better tight ends in the league. He doesn't play Travion Henderson as much. Their defense is a bunch of no names except for Gonzalez on the corner. So, I mean, how does this team winning? And I think in 2 weeks, they're going to put the final nail in the coffin to the Bills and send them to the pasture with another second win against the Bills this season. I don't know how this team's winning, but it's, do we need to turn the clocks back to the Super Bowl era? I don't know, but they're my number 1.
Wow. We were friends up until this episode. I don't know if that's going to continue, guys. You'll have to pay attention next week. So I'm definitely a little disappointed in that reaction to my opinions and my Bills. But hey, you know what? That's why we do this Rock of Sock and Power Rankings, brother, because we never agree on these things. So I hope you guys enjoyed. That's our top 10 for this week 14. We're looking forward to putting this out for you guys again, week 15. So thank you guys for joining us today. Please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Sudden Death Fantasy Sports. I am Sean. He is Scott. And we are out of here.